Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Thursday night class. This is Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to be. I'll be dealing with the topic for discussion. Going to be the big picture, and it's the Belt and Road Initiative. Some more information, profound information dealing with that. So I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe to Prophets of Awakening channel, and hit the notification button if you can. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel, and we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. The Tanakh is the Old Testament. It's the so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts, the Redeemer of Israel. Okay. I'll say welcome to everybody, and welcome to Prophets of Awakening. And I want to say welcome to our advanced women's Bible study. We're going to do our moment of silence, our prayer, Psalms. We do a little women's health, and the current events, and then we'll do a little need to know information, then go into the Q&A. Then we'll deal with the topic that's at hand. Okay, so with that being said, okay.
Okay, you ready?
Ready? He don't want to sit up.
All right.
Yo, Lord, we come before thee, thanking you for your mercy and for your great power. And we appreciate you, Lord, for your patience and guidance in these last days. Oh, Lord, we thank you for your awakening us to this great understanding about your word. And we come before you to keep and direct and guide, that you keep and direct and guide us through this upcoming week. Oh, Lord, for there are trials and pestilences and mayhem at every turn. Oh, Lord, we see your mighty hand in the world's affairs, and how you are constructing your people's deliverance. And we trust in and rely upon thee. For this cause, we honor and respect you greatly. Turn not thy face from us, but allow us to, in our searching of you, find you, O Lord, and dwell with you. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, the Psalms. Okay. You got the Psalms?
Yes. It will be Psalm 19.
Okay.
Psalm 19. Yes. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where the voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them had he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. He is going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. That was Psalm 19.
Okay. Okay. Any comments or questions about anything on pertaining to that?
Yes, I have a question about verse 1. The
Okay.
heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork.
Okay.
And I know in Genesis it talks about the firmament, but I just wanted you to explain that a little bit more so that I can have a better understanding.
The firmament is the stars in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's the first heaven. You got
Okay.
seven heavens, and so that's the first heaven. So that's why he said that uh, he divided the waters.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you got water on the earth, and then you got rain and vapors and all that in the clouds in
In the
between the
cloud.
firmament.
Okay.
And so when he brought the flood, he opened all those. He said the what they call that the windows of heaven was open.
The
That's what.
windows of heaven. Right.
So like I said, so if you got seven heavens, and what we see when we look up is the first heaven.
Mm.
That's where the firmament, stars, and all that. That's why he said right here, the heavens declare thy glory, O God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So when you see all at night, you see the Milky Way and you see the Big Dipper and all that. That's his handiwork.
Okay.
Orion, and all that.
Right.
The moon and the sun. That's his handiwork.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna shine a light on verse 14. You know, it says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart." This David talking. It's a psalm of David. The words of
Right.
my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. So who he talking to? Oh Lord. See that?
My strength and my
Strength
redeemer.
in my redeemer. There it is.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anybody else got anything on that? Psalm 19? Okay, so we're gonna go into the women's health. And got somebody that want to
Okay.
okay.
Let me pull it up. Okay. So, okay. Just since, high blood pressure and things like that, um, so prevalent in the black community, I was just reading about that, and it was saying that being black, which was interesting, being black in itself is a risk factor for developing high blood pressure.
Okay.
Um, and they were saying, things that um, may be included in the why being black um, may have, which I thought was interesting. It has, they said some scientists believe that high blood pressure in blacks is due to factors unique to the experience of blacks in the United States.
Okay.
That blacks, around the world, worldwide, have rates of high blood pressure that are similar to whites and others, but in the United States, the difference is dramatic. Like 41% of blacks have high blood pressure as compared to 27% of whites. And then in addition, black people in the United States are more likely to be overweight than blacks in other countries. And some experts think that the social and economic factors, including discrimination and economic inequality, are responsible for the difference. So I said, just all the stress
Right.
that genetically we may be carrying, that
Right.
we, just inherited
Right.
um, in our DNA after so long in this kind of trauma,
Right.
um, is what they're thinking. But
Right.
they're just saying the bottom line is that, you know, being overweight is a cause of stress. um, inactivity, smoking, just not taking care and not having proper diet. And some of the suggestions for improving your blood pressure and your health in general is adopting a healthy, diet, lowering um, certain foods and increasing foods like leafy greens like spinach and kale and berries and seeds like pistachio nuts and things like that. Fatty fish like salmon, citrus fruits. They're saying a lot about lemons and limes being healthy for inflammation in your body and bring your blood pressure down. And then just exercising, if it's nothing but walking, increasing that activity. It reduces the plaque buildup. If you're sedentary and you don't move around and you're not eating well, then you're increasing inflammation in your body, and you're you're increasing damaging to your arteries and stuff because you're not moving. So um just keeping that in mind, I was thinking, you know, people go to work, they're tired, but you got to take care of yourself. You got to. And then one of the scriptures that used, like how Cynthia used to tie it to a scripture. One of the scriptures that I thought, because I'm talking about, you know, the conditions that blacks have been in, and in the mental and emotional state
Mm-hmm.
that's contributed to it. Proverbs 17:22 says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones."
Mm.
So, your mental state is so important, and, and just keeping all of those things in mind, making sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you're not letting this world beat you down, and
Right.
all of that contributes to your overall health, mental, spiritual, and physical. So
Mm.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that?
I think a lot contributes to that because too, as Black people, we tend to hold in a lot. We don't express our feelings. We just, try to carry on every day as normal, and more bills on top of that, on top of that, on top of that, and we don't express our feelings. We just we hold it in, and we handle stress well, but it's not good.
Right.
It's
And we're
stressful
handling it all the time. That's
all
the
the
problem.
time. Right.
And some is expected, but if you're in a heightened state of stress,
Mhm.
it's like they were talking about, your adrenaline. Like if you're being chased by something, adrenaline is good if you're trying to get away from a tiger or a bear for a short duration of time.
Mhm.
But to be in a heightened state with that adrenaline running, it damages your heart and
Right.
it's not designed to always be at that.
Be that way. Right.
Yeah.
Environmental factors
And
that
think about the
that
people who living in dangerous conditions, and you
right.
know they don't ever get, they gotta keep looking over they don't get that downtime. They always in that heightened state.
Mhm.
Not good.
Yep. And I was reading that we develop high blood pressure at a younger age than any other group too in the U.S.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, another thing about that too is it goes back to the pineal gland. You understand that uh, they people, other people don't. They pineal gland is calcified, but our pineal gland is it's operating um in a way that the Most High created it. It's like a defense mechanism. So, like for instance, that people don't pay no attention to it, but when you get up in the morning, that pineal gland secretes a certain type of secretion into your body to get you going. And then at night, when the sun is reacting to the sun, and so when you go to bed at night, you're sending out another chemical that like a relaxer. that helps you go to sleep at night. So back to what you're saying about the stress level, constantly being stressed out, instead of putting out different types of chemicals to aid the body in that. And if you steady stressed out all the time, you're getting overdoses of this stuff, and it can end up becoming a negative effect. Just
Right.
like, just like taking, a pill. You know, if you take too many of them, you can overdose. So
Right.
that pineal gland, instead of doing all kind of stuff, that it's just doing its job. But
Mm-hmm.
because of what the state that we in, you know, we get an excess of certain
Right.
things that ain't good, and then we get lack of certain things too, because of that vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
You know, vitamin D is what that pineal gland is actually tied to vitamin D, but we most black folks is vitamin D deficient.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's some
You're right. And
Hmm.
then, too, I think it ties to the eating habits we had because, we could only afford certain foods which were not good for us.
right,
And they made it that way. But I think now it's a whole lot better for us. But, we were on a lot of things that we should not have, you know, been on eating pork, for example. It was
right,
not good for us.
yeah, and all that stuff was by us being dislocated. Like I was saying, going back and looking at the mechanics of things, he says the earth is the one,
Mm-hmm.
and so the mother is gonna give you what you need. So wherever land we was at, it was putting out plants and and stuff in that region that was giving us what we needed.
Designed for us. Yeah.
Right.
For us, and so now we're not there because over here, not only you got a mixture of all different type of people from all over the place, but all the animals and plants and all that stuff ain't originally from here. It was all
Right.
brought here, the pig and the chicken. They ain't from here.
Mm-hmm.
Brought here and introduced to this place. Yeah,
And
Mm.
then they were also saying that, once they put you on the blood pressure medicine, it's the chemicals and things that are in it. It
right,
may be treating one thing, but then it's causing a whole
Hurt something
range of
else.
other things. So it's better not to get on it in the first
right,
place,
exactly.
and to, use those natural things in in nature, the herbs and things that we need, um, so that you're not causing more damage. You're fixing one problem, but then all the stuff that they have in there, I
It's
think is designed to tear other parts down.
right, so they can
So
continue to give you different
exactly.
medications. Yeah, keep you coming back.
And people never get off of that stuff because they don't ever change their eating and exercising, and the blood pressure is down. But then later on, they find out these other things that affect it, whether it's the kidneys, the heart, different things that those blood pressure medicines and even those cholesterol medicines. I hear so many uh,
Right.
things about that.
And Star, I was thinking about if you listen to the commercials that talk about different medicines, right? And it says that by taking this, it may harm your eyesight, your kidneys, give you back pains. You know what I'm saying? It tells you that, but people don't listen to that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it tells you that. If you listen to the commercials, it says that.
It's on the bottles too.
Yes,
They're supposed to be a pass, but they ain't no pass. That's wicked as hell.
right,
Uh-huh.
right.
Ain't that something? Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Anybody got any current events? Yeah, I got something right here that I didn't know nothing about. I guess I was in the dark on it, but I'm quite sure y'all probably know about it. But let me play this. It's an article. It's it's pertaining to I didn't know that March was Women's History Month. Did y'all know that?
Yes.
Why why is Women's History Month? celebrate each March. He said throughout the Women's History Month, we celebrate the contributions of women. While it's important to celebrate women's history during the over 11 months too, during March, we can remember the sacrifices made by women for women to help make the world and our country a more inclusive place. Women History Month was officially created by the Congress in 1987, but its roots go back deeper, starting with I don't know what that word is, fighting for women to get the vote in the early 20th century. Okay, here's why Women History Month is in March and the other facts that you might not know about. Okay, month-long celebration. Okay, bit of Women's History Month is celebrated in March. It started as a National Women's Day on February 28th, a meeting of socialists and I don't know what they were, suffragists in Manhattan in 1909. In March 1910, German activist Claudia Zek, that's an Edomite, suggested that International Women's Day be recognized as an international holiday at the International Conference for Women in Copenhagen, and all 17 countries in attendance at the conference agreed. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know, you come right out of Black History Month and go right into Women's Month, Women's Month. All that time, I didn't know that was going on. Okay. Any comments?
I didn't know we had a Women's History Month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw that. I
I
was
didn't
like,
even know that.
I get something. Hmm.
They
Okay.
don't advertise it if we do. I ain't heard it anywhere else.
Okay. Okay. I get something.
Because it ain't for us.
Yeah, like I said, you see who started it.
Probably that's what it is. Ah,
Right.
Okay. We're gonna let this play right here. I thought this is interesting too. Can you see that?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. This is fantastic. I have to say, I'm really excited. So if you feel me, coming off this a little bit hot, it's just that I've been waiting a very long time to have the opportunity. I hope I'll do well. Here we go. Hello, my thanks to the California Task Force for the invitation, to Mrs. Alicia Turner for getting me here, and my friend screenwriter C.S. Trotman for her help. She helped me get prepared today. I appreciate the work to speak with you today. I've been trying to get government attention for a while, so if I'm here now, that means all my good troublemaking has not been in vain. My name is Erica Alexander, and I'm an actress. I've been an actress for nearly 36 years. You may have seen my work, and if you haven't, there's still time. Don't worry. Thank goodness for syndication. But through the years, I've expanded my skill set and added to my resume. Now I'm a writer, producer, director, and co-founder of Color Farm Media. We call ourselves the Motown of film, television, and tech. And I had to learn those skills in order to survive and thrive in a business that has for years traded on toxic narratives that were designed to create me and minority communities as the other. We've made progress, and for that I am grateful to those who paved the way and for abolitionist creators determined to destroy those stereotypes. But along the way, I learned a thing or two about being human and influencing narratives, so I can bear witness to the power of story as a mighty tool towards making reparations for African Americans today and in the future. So here's what I want to talk about: storytelling. If you ain't in the storytelling business, you ain't in the game. Everything is about narratives, everything. And those who control the narratives control the world. Activists. I'll tell you what I learned from great activists who are for reparations and others who are against. Why they tell the best stories and why that matters. Theory. Why storytelling is the vehicle to move hearts and minds of Americans toward reparations and techniques. I'll discuss how key narrative devices help the medicine go down. Today I'm here as a journeyman storyteller and explorer, returned from front lines and badlands called Storyville. And I'm here to tell you how to sell the story of reparations. To start, I'll tell you my story. It's an origin story. I worked in TV and film. Some of you may probably know me from Cosby Show or Living Single or Get Out. You may know me as the producer of the recent Good Trouble John Lewis documentary. There he is behind me. And I'm proud to be a working actor. I'm one of the lucky ones. Because before all of that, I was just a black girl from the mountains of Flagstaff, Arizona. My mother was a teacher. My father was an itinerant preacher. They were both orphans. They had 6 kids. We lived in Starlight Motel's 2-bedroom shack off of Route 66. It was tough, and we did a lot of dumpster diving. I started work around 5 years old, knocking on doors, asking for jobs, sweep the porch, take out the trash. My brothers, they were stronger. They would shovel snow. And when they got it, a $20 bill was mythological. That was the way it was until one day, fate stepped in, and my father, a Kojic Pentecostal and Baptist preacher, was discovered by the German Lutherans. They thought he was special and sent him to the Lutheran Theological Seminary in Philadelphia. And life changed for me. Suddenly, there were more opportunities. My mother sent me to an arts program in the summer. And when a Merchant Ivory independent film came to town in the 5th week of that 6-week program, they held an open call looking for girls of color to audition. I, along with hundreds of girls from the tri-state area, showed up, hoping for a miracle. When the smoke cleared, a miracle happened. They chose me for the lead. I was discovered there in a basement theater called New Freedom. That first job got me a union SAG card, health care, and a career. I was 14, and I've been trying to make good on being the one that got over ever since. Story. Now that you know mine, I'm no longer a stranger or just a face on the screen. I'm more human. And I believe in reparations for descendants, for African Americans, as a way to heal a nation that has yet to reform, repair, or apologize for its heinous history. Reparations will need creators and great storytellers to use their powers to lift it above the clouds. Storytelling is the most powerful tool for change in the world. See, most people cannot remember the details beyond the way something makes them feel. Story is the conduit to our mind, but once a seed is planted, it's the quickest way to our heart. My friend and mentor, Reverend William Barber II, is a master storyteller, the gold standard for the power of story and its might to create right. To have this discussion, I'll borrow his signature framework called the Third Reconstruction. In it is a moral, constitutional, and economic call for reparations. Reverend Barber, MacArthur Genius Fellow, is senior pastor of the Greenlee Christian Church in Goldsboro, North Carolina. He is also co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, started by Martin Luther King Jr. Reverend Barber says, I don't separate morality from economics. I don't think America can be if she doesn't ultimately deal with this issue, the legacy of systemic racism, and how it continues to hold the country back. Reverend Barber is the creator in this story, a world builder. He says we are the architects of the Third Reconstruction. All right now, just right there, you set up a little straighter in your seat, because with that one phrase, he recreates you as a character with a purpose in a more dynamic world. Our everyday ordinary just became mythological. He believes that you have to have a place to shift imagination, prophetic moral imagination, before you could have the hope of political and public policy implementation. In storytelling terms, he helped me see the arcs. Reparations, he makes the entire subject radioactive. You've seen it happen before with critical race theory, the 1619 Project, and Black Lives Matter. Larry Elder says, like it or not, slavery was legal. Their legal property was taken away from them after the Civil War. So an argument could be made that the people owed reparations are not just black people, but the people whose property was taken. So you may not dig that message, but the news outlets do, and so does the ground. That soundbite resonates with his arts conservative audience and liberals, especially because he's an African American. But the real benefit is that it sows chaos, doubt, and exhaustion in the entire population. Now the conversation is no longer about who's responsible or remedy. And being an unreliable narrator in a tragic comedy, he uses his exposition as ammunition. It's as good as shooting a firearm in a crowded theater because the effect is similar: chaos. How can you create possibility and make progress in that atmosphere? And that rhetorical device is reliable. It works, and it works. When it works, he's victorious, effectively reorienting and shifting blame on the victim and keeping empathy and a new perspective on the wrongdoer. Finally, this all brings me to a surprising turn of events in this 400-year slavery drama. And perhaps its most notable story I could tell you today about the determined young ingenue in this passion play, Evanston, Illinois, 5th Ward Alderwoman, Robin Lou Simmons. She's an all.
Okay. Is there anybody familiar with this lady?
No, not really. Just from Living
That's okay.
Single.
That's okay from Living Single.
Mm-hmm.
You don't recognize the face?
Yes, I do. That's what I was saying. That's the only, show I know her from is Living Single.
Yeah, she mentioned Get Out. I don't remember seeing her in Get Out.
I don't remember either.
I don't either think. I
You
don't
remember
know.
seeing her?
I don't.
Yeah, she kind of looked differently a bit. But
Yeah.
this girl on Living Single that
Max, it was Max with the braids.
Right, that was the
Yeah.
lawyer, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
she was a lawyer. Yeah.
the guy was always picking on like the same way Fred Sanford did with Esther.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to watch that, the whole it's 21 minutes. It's December 8th, 2021 Reparations Task Force. All this coming out of California. Okay. Yeah. So like about last year, beginning of last year, we was dealing with those. Let me play it right here. I thought this was kind of interesting. Let me get it. Yeah. Go.
Hello, this is Gloria with Redirecting, and recently I did a video where I was talking about purchasing land and small cabins to construct a tiny home on the land for very little money down, zero to no money down on the land, and very little down on the structure. What I'm going to do here in this video is I'm going to show you a series of videos of what others are doing in the way of small tiny home communities. Now, I know this is not for everyone. I'm just putting this out here basically to inspire, because I do see that the need for alternative housing and living situations is on the rise. A lot of people are homeless. Of course, some of the videos are targeted to the homeless community. Some are not. Some are just communities of like-minded people coming together. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip, and I'll be back at the end just to say a little bit more.
The tiny house trend has been gaining a lot of popularity over the last few years, and now you can try it out right here in Central Texas. Tanya joins us on the couch to tell us a little bit more about this. Very interesting.
Going small, man. I know. We talked about whether or not we could do it. I think I could, but definitely a change. This community is somewhere in East Travis County. They're a tiny house community away from high rises and traffic. The people who live there know each other very well, but every once in a while they invite guests to try it out or even move in.
And I've always wanted to live very small.
Reba Parker has lived in her tiny home for about 7 months now.
I love living with less things. It's wonderful to wake up and I have just what I need and nothing more.
She moved to Texas from Charleston, South Carolina. Her kids moved out and she didn't need a big home anymore. So she downsized big time.
And I don't miss anything that I gave up. So there's not a day where I wake up and say, I wish I would have kept this. I love my house and I love projects I have. It's just what I need.
Reva's just one of the 30 residents in Austin Live Work. The tiny home community rests in far East Travis County, away from the city lights and sounds. Residents here do more than just come home to sleep.
We have communal meals, we meet together, we plan projects together. It's all that gels people together.
Marty Kaw is a co-founder of Austin Live Work. She came from a gerontology background and tells us research shows that people live happy and healthier lives in a community. So she decided to start one.
So coming from Silicon Valley, I decided to just invest everything I have into this, buying a piece of land, and then all of the members of our community, they would know that they're on a sure foundation. We're not going away. We're here for the community.
Residents are like-minded and open people and have to be open to interacting with their neighbors. Everyone who lives here also has to sign a membership and community agreement, as well as go through a background check.
Here we have stairs going up to our loft, and voila, you have a storage here.
When you look around these homes, you will be amazed at how many things can fit. It's almost like a big game of Jenga. A loft bedroom over a bathroom and kitchen makes perfect sense. And many live by the motto, there's a place for everything and everything in its place.
It's amazing how much things they can actually put in the space, and you can just go vertical.
Austin Live Work chose tiny homes because it gives residents the flexibility to move around and come back. But there is another reason why the tiny trend keeps spreading.
But we're finding actually a lot of people are doing it because of affordability. So they're staying here with us, and then most of them own their houses outright, so there's no more mortgage to pay.
For Reba, it's about community.
So everybody's really open, accepting, and we help each other out. Somebody has a need, there's always someone that can reach out.
And she highly recommends it.
You really got to have this desire to live smaller. And if you do, go for it.
Of such a community. Now, something like this would be ideal for groups of 3 to 10 people.
Okay.
People who wanted to come together, who saw the need for this to establish a really small community of tiny home dwellings that are affordable, and everyone working together, of course. This would have to be something where people understand that they have to pull their own weight, that there are rules and guidelines, and they're not coming there expecting that everyone else is going to take care of everything and they just move in. We understand that not everyone can afford to just do that. When we look at some of these organizations, such as those in the video, these are organizations that get funding for this. As a matter of fact, if you have such a family, I think that is the best way to go, because or friends, people that you know, because appealing to people on the internet and thinking that this is a good idea, been down that road before, I don't think that's a good idea. You should definitely allow the Most High to lead you and guide you. As in the case of one of the videos that I showed, there was advertisements that went out for a community, and they told in the advertisement what they expected. Usually when Gentiles deal with each other, they can get along, but there's something that prevents us as a people from being able to get along and do right by each other. The Gentile, the Asian woman who started the community, she took all of her savings, invested it into land, and opened up the community to others that she didn't necessarily know. But because she established it as a business, she established guidelines, and she have legal rights when doing it that way. So if things don't work out with someone, she will have to seek out others with serious, real, definite like minds, both on a natural and a spiritual level, so that you all can come together and put this program in action, buying the land, buying the cabins, helping each other get them together, planting food, raising livestock, catching water, whatever it is you must do. I think it's a plan that we all need and must consider.
Okay. Any comment? I just thought that was interesting because in light of everything that's happening. And then, like I said before, it's happening. She said it's spreading. It's spreading. A lot of people are doing that. Okay. Any comment? Okay. With that being said, I was going to open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any comments or questions or about anything they want some answers to? And then we go into the topic for discussion. Anybody got anything? Okay. I'm going to go up here to the topic that I'm talking about is, I keep mentioning this is Road and Belt, Belt and Road Initiative by China, right? So we're going to come from another angle with that. Okay. Listen to the video and break it down. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Julian. Okay. 2013, Xi Jinping made a speech in Astana in Kazakhstan about the new Silk Road, land-based. And in the following year, he made a speech.
Yeah, this is gonna be this gonna become a major hot topic here real soon. So I mean, if you get opportunity, I think you ought to be doing some research on this and try to get our best understanding you can about it, and what's the ins and outs on it.
In Indonesia, about the maritime Silk Road. Now, essentially, this was building on already what China had been doing for over a decade with the going out strategy, which was China's turn to the world after 20 years, where basically it had concentrated on its domestic development. Of course, when he introduced the idea, it evoked immediately the history of the Silk Route. And this is highly evocative. You can see that in the way it's written about now in all sorts of different ways. But this, of course, was a project of its time, a very different time, and hugely ambitious. It is difficult to think of any other country that could come up with something like Belt and Road. I mean, this lies in the Chinese tradition of great projects, the Grand Canal, the Great Wall, and so on. Now, initially, when it was put out, as it were, as an idea, and it was an idea, it was a concept initially. In fact, it's never really beyond the point moved beyond that. It's not a plan. And so it was sort of presented as a possibility for the Eurasian landmass, all the countries on the Eurasian landmass.
Yeah, it's a prophecy.
And there was, especially across the Asian side, Central Asia and East Asia, Southeast Asia, a great deal of discussion about it. And then the project began to grow because essentially, unlike Marshall Aid Plan, which was, I suppose, in a sense, a predecessor, but much smaller, today's values, the Belt and Road idea is 12 times the size of the Belt and Road Initiative. And it was put out for a proposal, and here we are. And it's grown a lot since the idea was first formulated in 2014 and 2015. And so rather than just being, as it were, one route, well, first of all, let's start with the simple one. Here is the maritime route, which takes you to the east of Africa and then up and eventually to Europe, with Greece being one of the important stocking points, Paris port. And then there are six elements now to Belt and Road. And this, I think, is a product of the way in which other countries have shaped it, particularly, for example, Russia's intervention, or increasingly Turkey's interest in it. So you've got this route, for example, which is the China-Mongolia-Russian leg. Here you've got the Southeast Asia leg, if you like. Here you have what's called BCIM, Bangladesh, Myanmar, India, and China route. And then here you've got what's called CPEC, the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Then you've got the big wave through. This is sort of more like an energy route. This route is to Europe. The Eurasian land bridge. So you've got you see how much the proposal has grown. It's claimed. I don't know whether the figures are how much we can believe the figures, but there are 900 projects so far, and about $50 billion has been spent on the project. Now, and of course, I should add that the Middle East has become increasingly important in relationship to the discussion. And the two roads actually join, the maritime and the land-based routes join in the Middle East. And
that's where Israel is. That's where our land is.
And increasingly over the last few years, the UAE in particular has become more closely connected to these developments, and China is its second biggest trading partner. Now, where does the idea come from? What are the Chinese thinking of when they present something like this? Well, I think the best way to think about this is that China, reflecting on its own extraordinary and unprecedented and probably never to be repeated transformation, thought, well, how did we do it? We did it essentially through extremely large-scale investment, led by the state, crucially in infrastructure, which produced this extremely rapid economic growth. Now, we're not a model because we're so different from other countries, but surely some of those lessons can be applicable to the Eurasian landmass. And so the idea was that especially the Asian part of the Eurasian landmass, where many of the countries are poor, that perhaps the Eurasian landmass can be transformed in the same way that China has been transformed by this kind of approach. And I think that if we to understand China, one of the key words I think you have to understand, we have to grasp, is development. China is, in our time, the great exponent of development. By development, I mean development for the developing world. China is the master of this experience, and is obviously in a very different position to the United States or Europe and so on, because as rich countries, as developed countries, they don't have the same affinity with it, they don't have the same experience of it. China does. So if there was one country that was going to be able to take this initiative, it was China, because China has this experience, because China has the vision, China has the money, and also think of China not just as a country, but as a continent, not just as a continent, but in my view, as a sub-global system in its own right. 1/5 of the world's population, huge landmass, and so on. So this is where we are. Now, the third point I want to make is the impact that the Belt and Road is likely to have. The Belt and Road Initiative, well, I don't know how successful it's going to be. It's a very long-term program. Don't measure it in 5 years or 10 years. I think, in a minute, several decades, maybe 50 years, something like that, because we're talking about a huge project. But if it's even half successful, it is going to transform not just the Eurasian landmass, it's going to transform the world as we know it. Now, let me draw your attention at this point to this map here. The center, where is the center of the global economy? Well, this is from Danny Quah, who's now at Lee Kuan Yew School, but it was LSE. And in 1980, Danny Quah estimated that the center of the global economy was here, in the East Atlantic, where you'd expect it to be. It was essentially, the global economy was essentially a transatlantic economy. And then slowly it's been moving, like here. And at this point, it is somewhere around here. So actually, not too far away from where we are now. And by 2050, he estimates that it'll be on the Sino-Indian border. In other words, what we're witnessing is the shift of the center of the global economy from here to the Eurasian landmass. This is going to be the engine of global development. This is going to be the center of the global economy. It's also, it follows in time, will be the center, as it were, of the global polity. And so this is an extraordinary shift that in some degree, I think this is taking place, quite frankly, anyway. The question is the speed, the speed will be accelerated by.
Yeah, so most I said is he's going to hasten it in the last days, and this right here is no different than what he did with Nebuchadnezzar. If you go to the book of Judith, Nebuchadnezzar was a nobody. Nobody respected him or nothing, but the Most High took hold to him and those 7 angels, and he came out of nowhere. The Most High said, a scourge out of the north. This was the same thing, ain't nothing different with this. And you see how fast they move and progressing, because it's prophesied. But they got us off looking at something else. So anyway, this is if you want to watch this, it's Dr. Martin Jacque's Big Picture, China's Belt and Road Initiative will change the world as we know it. Okay. Any comments? Okay.
I'm gonna share an article that came out today in reference to China's Belt and Road Initiative. That they were talking about how in 2017 it was like 40 freight routes, right?
Right.
But now it's almost double that, reaching 180 cities in 23 European countries. So it's not slowing down at all.
Right. Right. It's moving just like he said. He's gonna hasten it.
Right.
You're bringing them on. They at hyper speed, and like I said, the man just told you, it's a huge project, and only one person can deal with it, and that's China, because the money and the wealth that they've been accumulating. So if somebody's gonna leave with some great substance or give out some great substance, it's gonna be China. And they're showing you through all the maps and all the charts, like we was looking at the other day. They said by 2050, India gonna have a more productive country than America is. China gonna be out the roof. So he already telling you, America ain't gonna even be on the scene. There ain't gonna be no factor. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna do the closeout, and then we're gonna go to we're gonna pick our conversation up tomorrow on Friday night. You got something you want to read, Michelle?
Yes. Another encouraging word. um, this one is titled, It is Not in Our DNA to Quit. Our ancestors survived being chained to each other for several months in the bottom of a disease infested ship, lost their language and culture, picked up the English language as best as they could, learned to read and write out of sheer will and determination. They were beaten, also forced to watch. They worked for free from sun up to sundown as they watched their babies sold from their arms and our women raped by ruthless slave owners. Saw our black bodies swinging from ropes hung on trees. So don't you dare give up. Our quitting point is the Lord's beginning point. Isaiah 40:29 through 31. Verse 29 says, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Verse 30, even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Verse 31, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. It is not in our DNA to quit.
Okay. That's encouraging to me. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that?
That's so true. We, we were designed that way too, so
Yes,
that's why we were able to endure it.
yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna hit this line and we're gonna pick this conversation up tomorrow at on Friday night Q&A. It's 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna say shalom to everybody, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock.